So, gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to Sandamtod's channel, to Adam Todd's channel. $100 Laserdisc. Um, I'm sure there are some that are a little more rare than others, with anything. There's always collectibles, Um, but for some odd reason, I wouldn't have thought this would have been one of those deals. But you may remember this clip. Let's just check this clip out for a second.
They have some laser discs, but I'm not real hip to it, and they're got them marked for $7, so there's no freaking way. But they got Addams Family, the TV show from back in the day, volumes 1 and 5. They've got this thing called the Colossus, the Forbidden Project, and Silent Running double feature, and then the best of the 23rd International Tourney of Animation. Looks like they got a couple more here. Let's keep looking.
All right, so you remember that, okay? That DVD or Laserdisc or LD. I don't know what the hell you call them, how to abbreviate it. So we'll just call it. I call them freaking DVDs all the time. So it doesn't really matter what we call it, does it? Really? You know what I'm talking about. The big fucking silver round discs. Anyway, this one here that we just looked at, didn't think much about it. Went through them. I picked up the 3 Star Wars, and I picked up Toy Story and Life of Brian. Life was good. I answered some comments on a few different things, and no big deal. And then out of the blue, I got this comment from a YouTuber. I don't know if he views regularly or not. If he does, thanks for the tip, buddy, because you're probably watching this video too. But right here, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. It's either Go to the Rats or Got Other ATS. I don't know. But he says, after watching your vid, I went to look for Colossus Laserdisc on eBay. There were 2 on there, and both were going for 99 bucks. I remember seeing it on AMC one night, and it was okay, but that's just crazy. And then, so I went and checked Amazon. And sure enough, on the Amazon site, Colossus, the Forbidden Project, Silent Running, 2-disc set. There's one on there used, $122.75, and I was like, what in the hell? Why is this? Because a lot of times I'm kind of one of those guys that it's hard for me to watch older movies. I don't know. I know some people just love watching, stuff from the 40s and 50s and before, and silent movies and things. I don't know. I've just always been a generational guy that if it came up and, in my generation, I watched it. Otherwise, it was just, there's rarities here and there. Here was one of the eBay pages. This is probably one of the 2, because there's still 2 on there that this guy saw. $99.97 is the price. Like new condition. Free shipping, it says. Oh, well, goddamn, you better throw something, man. And then the final one was this one. Looks like the guy laid it on his workbench or something. This looks like a piece of plywood. He wants $99.95. Buy it now. And he's going to make you pay the $6 shipping. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, I went there and I saw those 3, and I was like, what in the hell, So I went back to the guy's comment, and I went back on YouTube and kind of typed it in, and I found a couple trailers for the Forbidden Project. And I watched the trailer, and it looked okay. It looked like a 70s sci-fi. Okay. So I was like, well, um, I don't know. So I wrote this guy back, and I said, they have one on Amazon for $22.95, and it's used. It's not even new. This is crazy. It makes $7 look like a bargain out there. And then it says, I watched the trailer of the movie. Don't know if it's worth my time or money to go get it. Laughing my ass off. Maybe it's gone. That was 3 days ago, is what I responded. Because it was 3 days later when the guy finally had left the comment. And so I was like, well, what the hell? I'll go by the thrift store. If it's still there, I'll buy it. Because for some reason, I'm a sucker for stuff that's sought after. I went back. I literally went through their whole record album shelf, which they have the Laserdisc on too, and resorted everything. And put all them freaking Addams Family and animation discs. So the next time I go in there, I don't work there. I feel like I do after doing that. But I figured, next time I go in there, maybe they'll be a little more organized. I'll be able to go right to anything if there's anything new or whatever. And sure enough, old Colossus the Forbin Project and Silent Running were still there. So I decided to pick this up. And I still didn't know why they wanted a shit ton of money for it. A lot of times it's because they didn't release the movie on DVD. Or it's just one of those things that was a very limited run or something of that nature. And I went online and I was like the next day, and I was like, I'm gonna hunt around and see if I can figure out why this thing's so damn expensive. Because like I said, I watched the trailer and it looked okay, and I'm gonna do a movie review here because I did watch the movie, but I went on Amazon, I typed it in, and sure enough, a DVD came up, and I was like, well, it came out on DVD, so what in the hell, and I typed in Silent Running, and it was just kind of the same deal, and I was like, well, I don't understand what the deal is. And so I went on to Google and typed it in, why is the Forbin Project Laserdisc so expensive? And, at first I didn't really pull anything up, and then I kind of hunted around and found a couple forums and went in there, and they were talking about sought after Laserdiscs, and it turns out the reason why this Laserdisc is more expensive, I personally don't think it's worth $122. I wouldn't have paid more than what I paid for it, which was not $7. They had marked it down half price since then, because I've told you in the past, sometimes every week they'll half the price sometimes until it gets down to like $1 or $2, and then they usually leave it. And but they'd halved it, so I got it for $3.50. There's two guys wanting $100 for it online. I figured, no matter what, I could throw it up there for $50 and make, $40. I mean, but I don't sell things. That's not why I bought it. I didn't buy it to sell it. I bought it as more as a, what do they call it? A showpiece, something to talk about, not really to sell or to trade or anything. My policy, once I buy stuff and it's in my collection, it's there for life. I'm not, I'd be living in a cardboard box with all this shit if it came down to it. So, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't think I got to the point. It turns out, sorry, I rambled there. That was ridiculous. I should cut it, but I ain't gonna. The reason why is because this was filmed in 2:3:5:1 format, and the Laserdisc is freaking pan scan, and it pretty much cuts off about half of the screen in every shot in order to pan scan it, and it pretty much, I guess, ruins the movie. Uh, and I was like, so people want to get it on Laserdisc because that's the only. I don't know whether they released it on VHS. I didn't go that far, but this is the best. I guess the best format you can find of it in the original format release, and that's why it's so expensive. It has nothing to do with silent running. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a double feature. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the fact that the Forbin Project was not released on DVD in the correct format for collectors to want to buy it, and so it's more sought after as a Laserdisc. And that's it. And I'm going to turn down this yelling, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a movie review. I sat down, like I said, I said in a bit in my prior video that I watched a couple movies. Well, this was one of the movies that I watched. It starts off, it's not too bad. It's got those 70s earmarks. There's not a lot of music. There's not a lot of sound effects. It's just it's pretty quiet movie, and it starts off, and I have to tell you that if James Cameron didn't rip this off, I don't know who did, because it pretty much is exactly the lead-in story to what Terminator became. There's this big computer that this guy invents that basically America decides to give over the decision-making of missile defense in order to keep us all safer, the whole planet. And so they turn this computer on, and it turns out that the Russians go, well, hey, by the way, since you're going to turn on this big fancy schmancy computer, we got one too, and we're going to turn ours on. So how you like that? And so they go ahead and switch theirs on. Well, the first thing the American computer tries to do is link up with the Russian computer, because it detects another system is operational, and it wants to gauge its threat level, I guess, or whatever. And the movie goes on for a while. Finally, the computers end up linking together, and they're like sharing information at like a geometric rate, to the point where like all of these equations, mathematical equations and stuff are being figured out that man could have never figured out, and all this. And so both the Russian and the president and the Russian leader decide that they're going to break the connection, because they don't know what information is going back and forth between these two computers. So they decide they're going to break the connection between the two. Well, when they do that, the American computer says, you guys broke the connection. Why did you do that, basically? It doesn't speak at this point, but there's a big, like, scrolling, text thing, and it says, like, why did you break the connection? And it's, and there's a certain protocol to interacting with it, or using certain words so it doesn't get confused or work outside of its parameters or whatever. And the guy that invented it is basically the guy that kind of controls it for the president, and he basically says, contact was severed because unknown data was being transferred or whatever, and the computer basically says, well, reconnect the connection, and the president of the United States says, we will not be bullied, we're not going to reconnect the connection. And then the computer says, reconnect the connection, or else there will be action taken. And then they say, they ask the computer a couple times, what action, and they don't get any response. And then, kind of out of the blue, it launches a missile at Russia. And then the Russian computer turns around and launches a missile back at America, basically to force the hand of both the Russians and the Americans to reestablish the connection, the pipeline of information. And so they quickly try to get it relinked. They get it relinked in time enough that the American supercomputer goes ahead and shoots down the Russian missile that's incoming, but the Russian computer doesn't re-engage quickly enough to shoot down the missile that was shot at them because it's closer to them. So it actually destroyed some town or something. But the computers don't give a shit. They start passing information back and forth again. And they basically kind of, make hostages out of the Forbin guy and the other guy that kind of co-created the computer over there by making them basically having to be at beck and call at all times. I mean, basically they're just like, they're asking, the computer's asking where Forbin is, and Forbin had went to go meet with the Russian guy to see if there was a way they could shut the computers down, and they tried to bullshit the computer, and the computer said, if Forbin's not back here in 24 hours, I'm going to launch another missile, and basically it reaches the pitch that basically the computer ends up having a voice modulator thing kind of developed so it has a speaking voice and stuff, and it ends up addressing the world on TV, both systems becoming one system, and it says, we are the Colossus, we were invented to prevent war, and he says that's, exactly what we will do. We will prevent war. If you engage in war against us, we will wipe you out. We are here for your protection. Basically saying mankind is now our slaves, and if you do anything about it, you're toast, basically. And if that ain't the lead-in to the Terminator and Skynet getting built and all that, and then, the computer becoming self-aware and then launching missiles at Russia, and Russia launching missiles back and causing Judgment Day, and, it sounds almost exactly the same. So, I mean, I love Terminator, but this movie definitely, James Cameron had to have seen it, because, I mean, it's just the backstory leading into what would have taken place, like, I don't know, in Terminator Salvation or whatever, leading up to, and then, beyond that, So anyway, that's why it's so expensive. I have no desire to get rid of it. I mean, it believe me, it's not that thrilling of a watch. I think me telling you what it was about was probably more interesting than actually watching the movie. But they do a lot of artistic wide shots where we'll have something in focus here and something out of focus way back here. And if you cut that or pan scan it or whatever, it ain't going to work. And I understand why people that really are fans of this movie, I guess it's got a little bit of a cult following or whatever. And I buy into stuff like that too. I love stuff that's a little out of the norm. So, people are pissed that they didn't put it out in the good wide format. And I don't blame them. So, what are you going to do? So, anyway, there's 21 minutes on a video that you probably didn't give a shit about anyway. But I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd explain to you why it's so expensive and why I got it. and why I went back and got it. So, anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to do a couple more videos. I probably should have my Batman collection video in conjunction with this one.